Hey, good morning. Chuck here with Apple Drains. Today we're putting in a sump pump and a small French drain as the collection because we're working in a small courtyard. Here, take a look and I can explain it. If you look back there by the gas meter, there's a garage door. This is a garage. And when it rains, water has just been flooding across here. It's trapped. It cannot get out here to the street. So there's no gravity here. You need a sump pump. We're going to put a pump in there to capture the water. We'll collect that with a catch basin. We're going to use some of this easy flow, the styrofoam peanuts, bring that water into the sump pit right here, and then the discharge line right along the foundation, and it's just going to come up and discharge right out here onto the sidewalk, or excuse me, to the driveway. And it's actually a street. Let me give you more of a view here.
This is actually like a cul-de-sac, and it's the end of a little street for condominiums. What happens is, in this courtyard, all the water just tends to flood directly into this customer's garage. The courtyard is actually lower than the street, and with all of the roof water, take a look at these downspouts and how close these houses are together. All of this roof water, there's a downspout, there's another downspout, and of course the courtyard, all flooding directly into the garage. We need to get this water up and out to the street.
And you can see where the floor level is right here. It just comes right across the sill, and you can see the damage already in the floor inside. So, really a simple problem to correct, but a little bit of labor. We don't need a big collection point. We just need a place for that water to go. Right now it has no place to go. So here at the beginning of the trench, right there by the gas meter, we're going to put a small 6x6 catch basin. We're going to use the easy flow from there over here to the sump pit. We're going to use a Zoller M53, a great pump, lift that water up and discharge right out there onto the street. Okay, so pretty simple install. Hook up that downspout, line comes around, we put a catch basin here in the low spot. Okay, so we've hooked up our little small section of French drain from the catch basin. That's the low point. Water's been coming down through this area and flooding into the garage. We're picking up the water not only directly from the surface, but from the subsurface as well. This is what the French drain does. It comes into the sump pit, you can see, and the way I do that is I put a slice in the end of the pipe, and you just pull it through and it opens right back up. Now we're going to hook up the sump pump. We're going to drill a 2-inch outlet for the discharge. We've got our trench dug where it's going to discharge. It'll come up and just pop right up there at the street. Okay, so now it's time to set up our Zoller M53. You'll notice when you receive your box, it's really nice. See that? It says 3-year warranty. This is one of the most reliable pumps on the market. It works great. This is 1/3 of a horsepower. It has an 1.5 inch discharge and a single pole float, which means as water rises in the pit, lifts up that float, kicks it on, and then of course when the water drops, the pump shuts off. So some of the parts you're going to need, are going to be a couple of 3-inch or 1.5 90s, some PVC glue. You're going to need a no hub. This is all 1.5 inch. You need a check valve, and of course you need some PVC pipe, hacksaw, and of course your handy dandy Black & Decker drill with a 5/16 inch bit. Pulled out the pump. You can see here's the discharge port. This is an 1.5 inch threaded male adapter going into an 1.5 inch threaded female adapter. We're going to go ahead and start that in there. We want to put this in there hand tight and then tighten it up just as tight as we can make it. We don't need a wrench on this. Some people do, some people don't, but you really don't need a wrench on it. Next, I went ahead and cut a short piece of PVC, and what this is going to do is going to allow me to get above this bar which protects the float of the sump switch. So I'm going to go ahead and glue that section. Next, we're going to set our check valve on there. And remember, a check valve only allows water to flow one direction, if you can see those arrows. And as the pump lifts up the water, it comes up, and when the pump shuts off, a valve closes and it cannot come back down in. All held together with no hubs, black hard plastic, and stainless steel clamps, 5/16 inch nut driver. That's why you need your handy dandy Black & Decker. I've already tightened up these two center clamps. Now we're going to put a riser on it, set it down in the pit, make the measurement for the discharge. Okay, so we went ahead and plumbed the sump pump. We added a check valve. We've got our riser that comes up from the pump through the check valve, 90. We turn and we come out of the pit. We're going to use a couple of no-hubs that connect, and it comes down and we just discharge right at the street. Just review again. Remember that water has been flooding into this area every time it rains, and it comes up and over that sill, and you can see some of the rot taking place right here. Water comes right across that sill. It also comes through, right here's the footer, you can see it right there, and it comes through and underneath of the floor in the garage and comes up in the center of the garage as well. So to solve that problem, what we've done is we've added a catch basin, a little bit of French drain. This is our collection. Catch basin grabs immediate surface water, so it won't flood here anymore. And then after it rains, the water that's in the ground, as the water rises in the ground, it'll enter into the French drain, come over to the sump pit, sump pump lifts it up, and we'll pump it right out. So out here where we're discharging, we're not using a pop-up because we don't want this water to come back that direction. Instead, we brought a 90 up and we're just going to splash it right out here on the street.
Okay, so we put the lid on and we're ready to backfill. But before we do, let's review this one more time so that you understand exactly what this system does. So remember the problem. Water had been flooding in this courtyard and coming into the garage, flooding both under the footer and through the footer, and of course enough water had collected to flood straight through the door of the garage. So what we've done is we've added a collection system. That is the catch basin. The catch basin collects immediate surface water. We added a French drain. The French drain collects the subsurface water. That water is sent to the sump pit, where the sump pump lifts it up and sends it out.
Hey, this is Chuck with Apple Drains, reminding you that if you believe you can do something, I guarantee you can do it. Have a great day.